Jay Park stood motionless in his small research hut, watching the endless white landscape of Sigma 9 through a thick reinforced window. Outside, temperatures dropped to -70 degrees, turning the atmosphere into a dangerous crystal maze of wind and ice. His survival gear hung neatly on metal hooks, each piece carefully selected, each item potentially life-saving. The planet was unforgiving. Most expeditions failed within weeks. Humans were considered crazy to even attempt long-term research here. But Jay was different. He had prepared, studied, and understood survival better than most. Suddenly, a loud thud against the metal door broke the silence. Something was outside. Something desperate. Jay's hand moved slowly towards his emergency rifle, fingers brushing against its cold surface. Another thud. Louder. More urgent. Then a scraping sound, like something or someone struggling against the wind. The door burst open. A figure tumbled inside, covered in snow and ice. Not human. An alien. Female. Her skin shimmered with an odd iridescent quality, shifting between blue and silver with each movement. Multiple eyes, larger than human eyes, darted around the small space, filled with pure terror. When her gaze locked with Jay's, she froze completely. Her body was thin and fragile-looking, wrapped in a torn research suit that looked more decorative than protective. Compared to human survival gear, her equipment seemed almost laughable. She trembled, not just from cold, but from pure fear. Jay noticed her injuries immediately. A deep cut on her left arm, frostbite developing around the wound. Her breathing came in rapid, panicked bursts. She was hurt, lost, and terrified. But she was also alive. In survival situations, Jay knew that first impressions meant everything. Predator or prey, threat or victim, these distinctions could mean the difference between life and death. He raised his hands slowly, showing he meant no harm. No sudden movements. No aggressive postures. "You're safe," he said softly, his voice calm and steady. The alien didn't understand his words, but something in his tone seemed to register. Her multiple eyes blinked rapidly, processing the environment, analyzing potential threats. Jay took one careful step forward. She took one step back, hitting the metal wall of the hut. Trapped. Scared. He pointed to a thermal blanket nearby, then made a wrapping motion around himself. A universal gesture of warmth and protection. Slowly, he slid the blanket towards her. Her hand, with long, delicate fingers unlike human hands, reached out hesitantly. Touch was a risk. Communication was a risk. Everything here was a risk. The hut's heating system hummed quietly, creating a bubble of warmth against the brutal outside world. Jay watched her, reading her body language, understanding that every movement could trigger a fight or flight response. Who was she? A researcher? A scout? How did she survive the blizzard? Questions raced through Jay's mind, but survival came first. Helping her survive was the immediate priority. Her research suit was advanced but damaged. Clearly designed for observation, not survival. Human gear, by contrast, was built for extreme conditions. Every piece engineered with potential death in mind. Outside, the blizzard continued its relentless assault. Wind screamed against the hut's metal walls. Ice crystals formed intricate patterns on the windows, creating a beautiful yet deadly landscape. The alien woman continued to tremble, her multiple eyes never leaving Jay. Fear and survival battled within her. Fight or surrender. Attack or accept help. Jay knew this moment was critical. One wrong move could mean death for both of them. Slowly, carefully, he reached for a medical kit. Antiseptic. Bandages. Basic first aid. Universal language of care. The alien watched. Waiting. Calculating. First contact. Survival. Two strangers. One impossible planet. The story was just beginning. The silence between Jay and the alien woman felt heavy, loaded with uncertainty. She watched him like a cornered animal, her multiple eyes blinking rapidly, tracking every small movement he made. Jay knew medical treatment was his first priority. Her research suit was torn, revealing a deep wound on her left arm. Frostbite was already turning her skin a dangerous shade of bluish gray. If he didn't act quickly, she would lose the limb or worse. He moved slowly, deliberately. Each step calculated. Each motion designed to show he meant no harm. "My name is Jay," he said softly, pointing to himself. Then he pointed towards her, raising an eyebrow in question. She didn't respond verbally. Instead, she tilted her head, a gesture that seemed almost human-like in its confusion. Her iridescent skin continued to shimmer, changing colors with her emotional state. Jay opened his medical kit. Antiseptic. Bandages. Healing gel. Tools designed for human physiology, but adaptable. Survival was about flexibility. He held up the healing gel, making a gentle cleaning motion near her wound. She understood the universal language of care. Slowly, hesitantly, she extended her injured arm. The wound was worse than he initially thought. Deep. Infected. Probably from whatever chase or struggle preceded her arrival. Her species clearly wasn't adapted to physical combat or harsh environments. As Jay cleaned the wound, she watched him intently. No resistance. Just pure, calculated observation. The hut's heating system provided a cocoon of warmth against the brutal blizzard outside. Wind continued to howl, throwing ice crystals against the metal walls like tiny hammers. Jay's hands moved with practiced precision. Years of survival training. Expeditions to multiple harsh planets. Each experience had prepared him for moments like these. He noticed her shivering wasn't just from cold or fear. She was weak. Hungry. Her body was designed for different environmental conditions. From his survival pack, he pulled out nutrient bars. Universal emergency food. Designed to provide maximum nutrition in minimal space. He broke one in half, offering it to her. She sniffed it first. Alien senses analyzing its chemical composition. Then, hunger overriding caution, she took a small bite. Her reaction was instantaneous. Relief. Nutrition. Survival. Jay watched her eat, continuing to treat her wound. The healing gel worked quickly, sealing the injury and fighting potential infections. Her skin responded differently than human skin, absorbing the medication in strange, fascinating patterns. Communication remained limited. Gestures. Expressions. The universal language of survival. As hours passed, her initial terror began to fade. Replaced by curiosity. Respect. Something approaching trust. The blizzard outside continued its relentless assault. But inside the small hut, two different species found a momentary sanctuary. Jay knew this was just the beginning. First contact. Survival. A story that would challenge everything both of their species understood about adaptation and cooperation. Her multiple eyes continued to study him. Not with fear now. But with something else. Something that felt like understanding. Survival wasn't just about individual strength. It was about adaptation. Cooperation. Finding common ground in the most unexpected places. Outside, Sigma-9 continued its brutal dance of wind and ice. Inside, two strangers from different worlds shared a moment of unexpected connection. The story was just beginning. Night fell quickly on Sigma-9, turning the already harsh landscape into a complete darkness broken only by occasional flashes of moonlight against endless snow. Inside the small research hut, Jay and the alien woman found themselves in a strange dance of communication. His universal translator clicked in word, struggling to decode her language. Her own device responded with electronic chirps and strange mathematical patterns. Communication was a puzzle they were slowly solving. She pointed to herself. "Kira," she said. Her first words in a language Jay could understand. Jay smiled. "A name. A connection. Using basic drawings and hand gestures, they began sharing information. Kara was a scientific explorer from a planet with constant mild temperatures. Her species valued technology over physical adaptation. They solved problems with advanced machines, not bodily resilience. Humans were different. Adaptable. Survivors. Jay drew a simple map showing human migration patterns. How humans had spread across multiple harsh planets. How they survived where others would die. Kara watched, her multiple eyes absorbing every detail with increasing fascination. She showed him images from her own device. Her home world. A planet of endless technology, smooth surfaces, and controlled environments. No wilderness. No real survival challenges. Jay's drawings of human survival techniques fascinated her. Makeshift tools. Improvised shelters. The ability to turn almost anything into a survival resource. To her, these seemed like impossible magic. We adapt, Jay explained simply. Humans find a way. Kara touched a scar on her arm, a result of her recent escape. Her species would have used advanced medical technology to instantly heal such a wound. Jay's manual treatment seemed primitive to her. But something about his approach intrigued her. Humans didn't just solve problems. They experienced them. Learned from them. Grew stronger through challenge. As the night deepened, they shared more. Simple stories. Gestures. Drawings. Two completely different species finding a common language of survival. The hut's heating system hummed quietly. Outside, the blizzard continued its endless assault. But inside, something remarkable was happening. Understanding. Connection. Kara's initial fear had transformed into curiosity. She watched Jay's every movement, studying how he managed limited resources. How he stayed calm. How he adapted. Jay knew this moment was special. First contact wasn't just about technology or communication. It was about understanding. Seeing the world through different eyes. Her multiple eyes blinked in a pattern he was starting to understand. Not just a biological function, but a form of emotional expression. She drew something on his datapad. A complex mathematical equation. A representation of her species' approach to problem solving. Logical. Precise. Completely different from human intuition. Jay responded with a simple sketch. A human climbing a mountain. Surviving against impossible odds. Not through perfect calculation, but through determination. Slowly, carefully, two completely different worlds were finding a common language. Survival wasn't just about technology. It was about understanding. Adaptation. Connection. The blizzard outside continued. But inside the small hut, something extraordinary was happening. Two strangers. Different species. Finding a way to communicate. To understand. To survive. The story was continuing. The first warning came as a low vibration. So subtle that Jay almost missed it. Kara's multiple eyes suddenly expanded, changing color from silver to deep blue. Her body went completely rigid. Something was hunting her. Something dangerous. Jay moved to the hut's scanning equipment. Multiple heat signatures approached. Large. Predatory. Moving with calculated precision through the snow. How many? He whispered. Kara's device projected a holographic map. 3 massive heat signatures. Each larger than the hut itself. Tracking her signal. Hunting her with ruthless efficiency. Survival mode activated instantly. Jay began preparing defenses. Limited resources became potential weapons. A broken communication antenna became a signal disruptor. Spare thermal batteries transformed into potential explosive devices. Metal panels from his research equipment became improvised shields. Kara watched in absolute amazement. Her species would have called for technological rescue. Humans improvised. Fought. Survived. Outside, something massive moved through the snow, leaving deep tracks. Predatory. Patient. Jay's hands worked quickly, setting traps, creating defensive positions, using the small hut's limited space as a strategic advantage. Each movement calculated, each action purposeful. Kira's translator finally decoded something. "Hunters," she said. "From my research team. They want me. Want my research data." The first massive creature appeared outside. Part machine. Part organic. Something between technology and living creature. Standing 3 meters tall. Covered in adaptive armor that changed color with the surrounding environment. Jay understood immediately. These weren't simple predators. These were intelligent hunting machines designed to retrieve or eliminate. "We fight," he said simply. Kira looked shocked. Her species would surrender. Negotiate. Run. But fight? Never. The first impact against the hut's exterior came like a massive hammer blow. Metal groaned. Structural integrity began to weaken. Jay had prepared for this. Survival was about anticipation. About being ready when others would surrender. He positioned Kara near the hut's most reinforced corner. Gave her a simple energy weapon. Showed her basic targeting techniques. Her multiple eyes could actually track multiple targets simultaneously, a significant advantage. "Watch," he instructed. "Protect yourself." The hunting machines began cutting through the hut's exterior. Methodical. Precise. No emotion. Pure hunting algorithm. Jay's improvisational traps began activating. Sudden energy bursts. Redirected power sources. Small explosions that confused the hunter's tracking systems. One hunter fell. Then another. Complex technological systems defeated by human creativity and improvised strategy. Kara watched in complete shock. Her species would have considered this impossible. Defeating advanced hunting machines with limited resources? Unthinkable. The final hunter pressed forward. Massive. Determined. Jay's last trap activated. A combination of redirected power, thermal batteries, and pure human determination. The explosion was spectacular. Bright. Powerful. Transformative. Silence followed. Kara looked at Jay. No longer saw a primitive creature, but a complex being of incredible potential. Survival wasn't just about technology. It was about adaptability. Creativity. The ability to transform limitations into advantages. Outside, smoke rose from the destroyed hunting machines. Inside the damaged hut, two very different species shared something profound. Understanding. The story continued. The blizzard began to fade as Sigma-9's pale sunlight crept across the damaged hut. Jay and Kara sat surrounded by the remnants of their battle, broken equipment, scorch marks, and evidence of their unlikely survival. Kara's multiple eyes studied Jay differently now. No longer saw a strange creature, but a complex being of remarkable potential. Humans weren't just survivors. They were transformers of impossible situations. Her communication device remained active. A soft blue light pulsed, indicating an incoming transmission from her research team. But something had changed in her perspective. Jay cleaned his improvised weapons, his movements precise and calculated. Each action spoke of years of training. Years of understanding survival wasn't just about strength, but adaptability. "They will want my data," Kara said, pointing to her communication device. "My research about this planet. About you." Jay simply nodded. No fear. No anxiety. Just calm understanding. The hut was more hole than shelter now. Massive claw marks from the hunting machines decorated its metal walls. Outside, destroyed technological hunters lay like mechanical corpses in the snow. Kira extended her communication device towards Jay. An invitation. A promise of future communication. Her species rarely offered such gestures to unknown entities. Humans are different, she said, her translator rendering her alien language into simple words. Not just survivors. Creators. Transformers. Jay's smile was simple. Honest. Understanding that this moment was more than just survival. It was first contact. A bridge between two completely different species. Her device projected a holographic map. Her home world. Technological. Advanced. But lacking the raw survival instinct he represented. We want to understand, Kira continued. Not just study. But truly comprehend. The sunlight continued to break through the remaining clouds. Sigma 9 seemed to pause. Watching. Waiting. Jay knew this moment would change everything. Not just for him. Not just for Kira. But for both their species. First contact wasn't about technology. It was about understanding. About seeing potential where others saw only difference. Kira's multiple eyes blinked in a pattern he was beginning to understand. Emotion. Communication. Connection. Her device continued to pulse. Waiting for her response. Waiting to transmit their encounter. Tell them, Jay said simply, that we survived. Kira's translation device worked perfectly. Converting his simple statement into a complex communication that would transform her species' understanding of humanity. Outside, Sigma 9 continued its brutal dance of survival. Inside the broken hut, two beings from different worlds found something profound. Connection. Understanding. Promise. The story was just beginning.